Okay, this is KP4MD. We're now live on YouTube.
Good evening. This is Neil, Kilo Lima 7 Hotel, Quebec, Romeo, your net control operator for the River City Arc Slow Scan television net tonight. This net serves for training and practice. Stand by. I apologize. Continuing. Does not serve for training and practice on the image transmission modes and meets Wednesday night at 9 p.m. on the N6NA repeater on 441.30 megahertz. River City Amateur Radio Communication Society members and all licensed radio amateurs are welcome to participate. Wish to join the net or need to make a call at any time? Please announce your call sign between transmissions and the net control will acknowledge your presence. If an emergency should arrive and you need the repeater, please contact the net by saying break, break. A double break signifies emergency traffic. The net will stand by for you until the emergency is terminated or the traffic is moved to another frequency. Stations who need to check in are asked to respond with a full call sign using the recognized ITU phonetic alphabet in their name. I will recognize each station before continuing. Any station who wishes to check in on the net, please come on now.
November 6, Papa Golf, Quebec, Bob in Roseville.
Bob and anybody else? I'll check myself in. Kilo Lima 7 Hotel, Quebec, Romeo. Anybody else check in for the N6NA Slow Scan TV Net?
Yeah, this is KP4MD. Carol, someone else doubled before you, Neil.
The station at double, I got KP4MD. The station at double, please come back again.
That might have been me. Alpha India 6, Delta Golf, Joel in Florin.
Good evening, Joel. Nice to hear you, and I was wondering if you were going to show up. Welcome. Anybody else? If Wilson's still learning his Morse code, he's probably not going to be in tonight. So we have 4 so far. If anybody else shows up and would like to participate, please let us know in between transmissions. N6PGQ. Bob, if you have a picture to transmit, go ahead.
Okay, well, hopefully I can push the buttons real quickly. I wasn't planning on being first, but this is going to be coming in PD120 and 6PGQ.
KL7HQR. Yeah, we have a very good copy here, Bob. I will not attempt to describe what it is, but I'll be the last one. Let's see if Carol has a chance to take a look at the picture and give us some comments. KP4MD.
Yeah, this is KP4MG. I'm just going to guess this has something to do with automotive. I don't have any, what is it, a starter maybe on a solenoid. That's what I'm guessing. It might be completely off. Back to net control. This is KP4MT.
Interesting, Carol. That's exactly what I was trying to figure it out myself. I'm quite sure between Joel and Bob. Too bad Wilson is not here, but they're going to have good fun with this. But the picture came in okay. I would guess a starter. I see what appears to be a vacuum line coming in on the item on the left side, making a little curve, and what appears to be a electrical connection on the back of the gray device on the left side. But the picture came in beautiful with N6BGQ in red on the bottom left, and very, very few artifacts. Very good copy here. So let's go to somebody who probably will know more than I will ever guess about this. AI6DG, back to you.
Hey, this is fun. Guess the part. Yeah, automotive, my guess too. I'm looking at, okay, so it's all black and gray, some shiny new bolts, so those aren't original bolts to whatever this is. But it's got an old patina to it, so it's an older car, I don't know, 60s, 50s, 40s. And it's all black and painted, so there's no raw aluminum. That's another reason to make me think it's something older. But there's a nice patina of rust and aged surface on some of this. Black parts on the upper center going diagonally down to right center. A couple of tubes coming up from the lower right, one of them going up to a part that's bolted onto the thing above it, that's going from center upper to lower right middle. Another cable going just off the screen, and then I think that's probably it, bolted to the cap or whatever the air tube is going into above it on the extreme upper to the left. The one of them is obviously a vacuum or pressure tubing, because it's going to a nub. Well, I guess it could be fuel, so it's either fuel line or vacuum. And the other one, I can't tell if it's another vacuum, fuel, or pressure line, or if it's electrical. I can't tell what it's going into on the top. My guess is, this is just a wild guess, I was originally thinking starter also, and that this thing on the side of whatever the other thing is was a solenoid, but it doesn't look right. It just doesn't look like any starter end or starter solenoid I've ever seen. So my next guess, and this took quite a while looking at it before I came up with this, is that it's a vacuum actuated wiper washer, windshield wiper washer, that goes somewhere near the engine compartment or thereabouts. So yeah, good one. This is fun. Back to net, AI6DG.
Roger. I think I may have broken the code here. I think it is a vacuum operator activator for Star Trek original series doors that they would open automatically. Mr. Bob, N6BGQ, would you please step up and tell us what this device is?
Okay, well, the first thing is I did not give you any size perspective. There's nothing in the picture to indicate how large or small this is. What it actually is a Columbia overdrive rear axle vacuum control unit. And what you see on the top is one side of the rear axle on a Ford flathead. Since the cars had torque tubes instead of an open drive shaft, your overdrive unit was actually mounted on the rear axle and in the rear differential of the car. And what you're looking at is the vacuum actuator for that. There's vacuum lines that go up to a unit underneath the dash that when you flip it to overdrive and then push on the clutch, it opens a valve and sucks an actuator back and forth, putting it into and out of overdrive. So you get about 70% of your speed, and so you can actually, with a older car, go down the freeway at a good rate of speed. So that's a Columbia 2-speed overdrive actuator unit.
Well, Joe, any further comments on that?
What do you mean when you say Columbia? Is that a brand name or a type or a car brand or car model? What is Columbia?
Columbia is a brand name, and they made overdrive units for mostly Fords. Studebakers would use them, and almost any car with a closed drive line. But they were mostly made for Ford V8s, and this one's going on a 1939 Ford.
Okay, next question is, what is a closed drive line? How does that differ from a drive shaft with a U-joint in front and back?
Well, the Fords, since the rear spring is transverse going across the car, needed a method to keep the spring from winding up. And so what Ford had was a closed axle enclosed in a tube, and the axle went down inside the tube. There was a bearing in the middle of the tube, and the entire driveline is enclosed.
Okay, so it's still a drive shaft with U-joints, but instead of just being exposed to the road or going through a tunnel, it's completely enclosed.
Now that's correct. They were like that on Model Ts, Model As, and Ford V8s up through, my brain's fading, through the late 40s when they switched over to an open drive shaft.
Well, that explains why I've never seen anything like this or what you're describing. But then I've not seen trucks. I mean, you go into the big commercial trucks and semis. I'm sure that's a whole other universe of types of things to see also. And that's, I know, has changed tremendously in technology and techniques in the last 50, 60 years also.
Yeah, well, I've got a series tonight of car pictures, so we'll see how late people want to go.
Okay. One thing, Bob. I understand now why you're so good at playing the violin and so good with automobiles. Now I see how closely related they are. It's understandable. You guys can keep on going because I love to listen and learn. I don't know if Carol has any comments. Otherwise, Carol, if you're ready, you may go ahead to either come back with some comments or go ahead with your picture of KL7HQR.
Yeah, okay, this is KP for MD. I have no further comments on that, and thank you very much. for that explanation. And we're going to go to PD 120 on this picture. Here it goes, PD 120.
Let's kill 7HQR. Well, Carol, very good copy. The background's a little washed out, but the foreground copy very well. Came across pretty beautiful. I guess this is taken in some farm, and on the left I see a very elderly gentleman. He must be a farm with a hat, and seeing that his shirt is green and yellow, I would assume he's from Brazil. And next to him, obviously an American, the blue and red and white, and very clear picture. Of course, this is I recognize who was taking that to the farm and tractor, and Bob was playing around with his KX3, and so good copy. The background, I can see what appears to be some of the Boy Scouts back there. And I forget who were I think it was Dave there in the back, and I don't remember the name of the gentleman that was sitting on the chair, roughly on the center. So that's my description. Let me send it back to you, Bob, and N6PGQ.
Well, let's see. We see a couple of Boy Scouts and a Mahindra tractor in the background. A couple of people relaxing on their lawn chairs, and some guy with a electrified shirt. And there's some guy in red that's talking on a KX3. He must have a spare because there's another one right above it. And it looks to me, reading his lips, that he's working W9IMS N6PGQ.
I didn't catch the lip reading part. I'm sorry. I missed that one. AI6GG. Back to you, Joel.
Ham radio is a contact sport. That's what the green shirt says underneath the radio tower. Yep, I finally decided it was two KX3s. I was debating between 2s and 3s, but nope, those look like 3s, and there's 2 of them, one with an ear set, with a set of ears on the side. Looks like there's a nice straight key between them, and a solar panel. Maybe that's a solar panel back in the background to the right of the Boy Scouts. Let's see. Maybe they were having lunch or a snack, because there's a plate on the table in front of them, and what's the glass stuff to the right of that on the lower right corner? Is that a glass or a vase, or can't quite tell? Is this year or years past? Back to net AI6TG.
Okay, let's take it back to Carol, KP4MD, for further clarification. This is KL7HQR.
Yeah, okay, this is KP4MD. This was, I guess about 10 days ago was the weekend of the Farm and Tractor Days over at the Dry Creek Ranch. And yes, that's Neil standing up there, and sitting is Bob, N6PGQ, contacting the special event station at the Indianapolis 500. And that was done on 10 watts on a little buddy stick vertical antenna that was just lashed on to one of the supports there of the canopy. So I was quite impressed that with a little bit of persistence, Bob was able to get through all of those kilowatt stations that were piling up on the Indianapolis 500 special event station. And yeah, there's two KX3s. One of them was mine, and it didn't quite work with with Bob's microphone. So he whipped his out, and I guess the settings were all compatible. He didn't have to monkey with any of the menu settings, and he did accomplish that. That the scouts there in the background, what they have there is not a solar panel, but it's a pine wood derby. I guess it's kind of a little platform that they drop these little matchbox cars down, and that they do races on. It's one of the activities that the scouts do at these events here. So back to net control. This is KP4MD.
Roger, any other questions, Joel or Bob?
That's what I get for thinking exclusively ham radio. Obviously, this isn't a ham radio event. There's other things that happen in life and other events going on with other perspectives. So, Boy Scouts doing Boy Scout things. That makes sense. Back to net AI6TG.
Joel, it was my first time going to this particular show. I've lived here for 20-some years, and I didn't know it was there. And being a city guy, I was really enthusiastic about seeing all those little engines and what all the ingenious ways that they use those engines. And the Boy Scouts did a very interesting thing. They did a demonstration on how to properly retire an American flag. So it was a very good experience. I look forward to going back there again. Anyway, let me see. You always have such an interesting picture, Joel, as well as everybody else. Mine is, since we're in a guessing game, consider this as a part of a guessing game. It will be PD 120. Well, that's a picture, and I think the thing would be if anybody recognizes it and know where and when this existed. If you don't mind, Kara, I know you're dealing with the YouTube, but let's send it up to you first, KP4MD, KL7HQR.
Yeah, okay, KL7HQR. This is KP4MD. Picture of a front of a casino, restaurant, prima donna, and it looks like it has some wax figures up there. No, those can't. Those are larger. That maybe it is. It looks like there's some kind of figures behind some glass over there, up above the big marquee signage for that casino. I'm gonna guess this is in Las Vegas. I may be completely wrong, but knowing you, it's probably in Monaco. I'm just guessing. So back to net control. This is KP4MD.
I tell you what, casino in Monaco looks a lot much more like a business building than a casino. But good guess. So let's go to Joel first. AI6DG. What do you see?
Prima Donna Entertainment Casino Restaurant, cast drawing with, I can't quite read it. Fine food, low prices, man and eggs. What? That can't be right. Tom Matinee at the piano. Reasonably good reception. I got 3 bars on the top half of it, though, so at least one of them was the repeater ID. I'm not sure what the other 2 were. Okay, so old cars, old looking clothing on the people, so this is, late 60s. And it doesn't look like Vegas to me. It looks like a 1 or 2 story building with a very large false facade on the front of it facing the street. And I don't think those are 3D. I think that's just paintings that look 3D. I'm thinking Atlantic City or someplace back east. I don't think this is Vegas, but surprise me. Let us know. Back to net AI6DG.
Well, it's still it's close. You guys are getting the main idea, and if I don't think I've ever seen an announcement for men and eggs, but it's kind of hard to read. But maybe I can reinterpret that. How about you, Bob? N6PGQ.
Well, it's ham and eggs for looks like 99 cents. Yeah, it's the Prima Donna Casino. If my memory serves me right, because I'm not a gambler, it probably is in Reno on Virginia Street, and you can see that the people are casually walking up the street. Might even be doing some jaywalking pretty soon. I swear I remember that thing, and I almost think they were shadow boxes instead of paintings. But anyway, we'll hear the story from you, N6PGQ.
And this is Scale 7 HQR. And the winner is Bob. Yes, this is the Prima Donna Casino facade. And it was taken in late March or early April 1966. And I thought the guys would get a hint on the automobiles. And it says there on the original, ham and eggs, 88 cents. The Prima Donna Casino was one of the main facades in Virginia, as Bob said, in the same block that you have the biggest little city in the world, the Arch. And had Harold's and had Howard's, Harris and Harold's and Prima Donna and quite a few others. And it was very, very clean, and the figures are 3D. They are in 3D, and they're larger than life. And that was taken by my father on his very first visit. He had been here for only a few weeks in the United States, and he took the picture. And in the center there, just behind the car that's going off the screen to the right, you see a young man in red with somehow black hair, and that is a very thin 22-year-old Neil. So good job there, Bob. Any comments? Having none, as I said, it's going to be interesting to do a program with a day where we all do, guess what the picture is, which we basically do every night. AI60G, your turn, my friend. Let's see what kind of goods you have for us tonight.
Hey, that's interesting. I'm doing a Google and seeing all kinds of pictures up there. So I guess I just haven't been to Reno before. I know I've been to Reno, but not often, and I'm not sure I would have even. No, you think I would have noticed this? So I'm not sure how come I've never seen this before, or at least don't remember it. So let's see. Want me to send a picture? Transmit tab. PD120, and let's first make sure I got a time.
Yeah, good tone. Well, what an intriguing picture. Let me send it over to good reception, but let me send it over to Bob for his comments to start with. N6PGQ, please go ahead.
Yeah, echo Neil's comment. We're getting really good reception tonight. There's only a few artifacts, mostly in the about the upper 2/3 of the picture. It looks like somebody's taken a picture of a side of a mountain and marked with a computer line, because it doesn't look like somebody's drawn in on it. Probably different strata, maybe a sedimentary formation here, and it might have tilted up or something like that a little bit. So someone has marked the strata, is my guess, and used a computer to do that. N6PGQ.
Okay, Carol, KP4MD, your turn.
Okay, yeah, it looks like the a rock someplace Yosemite or one of those places that Joe likes to hang out. And some red lines on there, which probably are some kind of trail to climb up the side of that rock. This is what I'm guessing. But otherwise, it's really good. I see there's a little strip across the center, horizontal, where there was probably, oh, I remember. There was a dropout in the signal strength. It all of a sudden went really down here on my side. And so there is a few lines horizontally there that were a little scrambled. So back to net control. This is KP4MT.
Scale 7HQR. Yeah, I just described what I see on the left-hand side. The bottom is some vegetation, green vegetation that came out very good, and then obviously is a rocky facade formation of which seems to go up to a plateau with some trees and then back up again. Bright blue sky shown on the left side. Interesting that Bob thought about rock formations and segmentation. And Carol mentioned the way to climb. I think any of those interpretations could be very valid. And the details on the rocks where AI6DG call letters are very, very, very clear here for me. Very good contrast. So. Interesting one again, Mr. Joel. Back to you for clarifications, please.
So this is a picture and diagram of the correct route to navigate the Ebersbacher ledges on the Mountaineers Route trail up to the top of Mount Whitney. So most people doing Mount Whitney are on the main trail. So I think like 100 people a day, permits are issued to go up that. Whereas this Mountaineers route, they only issue 10 a day. The main trail is maintained. It takes, like, I don't know, 9 miles, 12 miles. It's quite a bit further to get up to the top of Mount Whitney, whereas the Mountaineers route is unmaintained. It's strictly a usage trail, meaning it's only the people that use it and the signs of their passage or any decks or ducks or piles of rocks or cairns, whatever you want to call them, that someone might have put up, and those are generally probably discouraged for most of the trail. And it's probably a half to a quarter the length, so it's very steep. It takes route finding skills to not get lost. So when my last trip up to Whitney, I went up the Mountaineers route, and I came prepared with printouts of pictures like this to try to not get lost. And I didn't get lost. It was actually very obvious in most cases where the trail was. By far the hardest part of it was this little section right here. And this is actually right after where the Mountaineers route takes off of the main trail. It's I think the first creek you cross, if you just before it, look to the right in the trees, you'll see a little itty bitty sign that says Mountaineers route. If you didn't know that the trail was there, you'd walk right past it. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's on purpose. It's very steep. You're going up a canyon. Eventually the canyon gets really narrow and is clogged with willow trees during the summer. In winter, there's no problem because they get covered in snow and you can just walk over them in the snow. But in summer, someone eventually, and I guess that someone was Ebersbacher, figured out this route to bypass the willows in the bottom of the canyon. And everyone since in summer has gone this route. And it was a wonderful trip, although I had a bit of a hairy moment. here. I left too late. I got rained on and stopped before doing this, hoping the rain would stop. I eventually cut a hole, only to get caught in a gale force storm of rain in the middle of going through this, and I ended up having to set up camp in the middle of the trees up in the upper center of the screen, bivouacking. So everything ended up well, but it was a bit of excitement for a while there, setting up a camp and a tent in a gale storm. Not to mention the strange looks I got the next morning from people wondering, what the heck, you're not supposed to camp here, as they walked by, as I was waiting for everything to dry out. Back to net, AI6DG.
Great description there, Joe. Very, very interesting. I have a couple of three questions, but let me see. Carol, KP4MD, you have any questions or any comments for Joe?
No, no further comments. I just stand in awe. Back to net.
Okay, Bob, any additional comments or questions?
Well, obviously I missed the boat, but very interesting story and good quality picture. Came through with flying colors, N6PGQ.
Okay, scale 7H2R. A couple questions. Can you give us an idea of the scale distances that we're looking at here, from the bottom to the turn on the right, and then the across on the upper part?
Well, up on the top, the trees in the top center, those are full-size trees. Not huge, but they're trees. They're not bushes. And I'm not sure. There may be 100 yards, 150 yards from there down to the bottom. It's not it's not a huge distance, but it's definitely enough that you don't want to fall down it, as some people unfortunately have found out. That tree on the lower right is probably a decent-sized tree, but still small. So if I were standing up, well, those bushes in the foreground, those are taller than people. You wouldn't, if you were under them, you wouldn't be seen in this picture.
Give us a pretty good idea on the size and distance. For instance, from the left edge of the picture to the right edge of the picture along the trail. So that's what I was checking in. So, and now noticing the blue in the sky, that usually you see that at a higher elevation where you see that kind of a cobalt blue. But anyway, great picture. Thank you, Joe. One more time, we learn about cars. We learn about California nature from you guys. So. Carol, I don't have another picture to send. So, Carol, do you have any other pictures to send? And if you don't, then we'll pass it on to Bob.
No further pictures here. Over.
Roger. Let's go, Bob. N6PGQ. Looks like you have at least one more, and we have 9:44 here, so I think we have time for another picture.
Okay, well, I'll save the rest of them for next week, but here comes one in PD 120.
Channel 7 HQR. Again, a magnificent reception here. Absolutely gorgeous. No problem whatsoever. I think I could count in one hand the number of artifacts. And so, having said that, I know that these are automotive parts, and they're properly greased. Looking at the condition of the teeth, I think they are brand new, just out of the box. Now, what part of the automobile they belong with, I have no idea. I'll leave that up to the experts. So, AI6DG, to you for comments.
I'm guessing manual transmission. And the differential would only have one gear like this, not four of them, or at least differentials I'm familiar with. So I'm guessing transmission, and these are very old, and I'm trying to figure a way to describe just how blown up and destroyed these are. I mean, that's not just grinded gears. That's like grounded gears. I mean, there's no gear left. There's no teeth left on the big gear with kind of a shaft on the lower right, and above that, the edges on the gears are all ground up, and both of the ones to the left are all ground up. This is not ground gears. This is like ground up gears that then ground themselves up, and wow, that I imagine you could not drive this car. They're so ground up. There would just be spinning. I want to hear more. Back to Net AI6DG.
Based on your description, from a lay person, maybe when you go in 120 miles an hour and engage reverse, I guess. I don't know. Carol, KP4MD, your turn.
Okay, it's yeah, I see some worn out gears, and I had a little bit of fuzziness in the top half of the picture. As you could see some horizontal lines, but I don't have any further comment on it. Back to Net KP for MD.
Okay, Bob, it's your turn to clarify, and I hope this is not something that you did.
Well, Joel's getting close. Remember the vacuum actuator that we had in the last picture? Well, this is what happens when you buy one of those units without disassembling them. You don't buy overdrive units because what you see here is a Columbia planetary and sun gears that look like that when you have this nice black shiny case that all looks perfect. You discover that this is what's inside, and basically you've bought, what do they call it, a pig and a poke or something like that. Anyway, you always take the things apart before you buy them at a swap meet because you end up with stuff like this. And just a little bit further explanation. If you picture an old Ford rear end, the rear end has a center section and then two axles with a cap on either side, right and left rear axle. And this Columbia unit replaces the right rear axle, and these gears engage with the rear end, and that's how it does the shifting. N6 PGQ.
So you bought something on a swap meet, and when you opened up, this is what you found. Is that what you said?
Absolutely. Oops.
It's like getting a linear, solid-state linear, and finding out that you have burn-out vacuum tubes inside anyway. So I hope they didn't spend too much money because, like Joel said, this seems to be like quite a job. Joe, any other comments?
No. And again, I'm corrected. It's not a differential, though. Like you said, I'm close. But I imagine there's lots of things that you can't really open up at a swap meet, so you just have to take it on trust.
Or you bring a set of wrenches and ask them if you can open it up before you hand them money.
Is that a normal thing?
Well, it is now.
I can understand. Any further comments on this? I just think Wilson was here. He probably would enjoy seeing some of these pictures. When he comes back, maybe you want to repeat some of them. Okay, it is now 10 minutes to 10. I don't have any pictures, and Carol said she doesn't. Joe, if you have any other pictures, go ahead.
PD 120.
Scale 7 HQR. A good picture, a little bit of interference in a couple of bars in there, but still overall very, very good. Cable cars, fuel hills. I have to think about this. Let's go to Carol, KP4MD, your comments.
Okay, this is KP4MD. See something that looks like a cable car, and I think I've seen this in San Francisco. It's a place where the cable car goes onto this platform that rotates and turns it around in a different direction at the end of one of the cable car lines. That's what it looks like to me. I had a lot of dropouts because of my multipath. You can see the picture on YouTube. But that's what it looks like to me. So back to net, this KP4MD.
Well, okay, Carol. Yeah, I do see on YouTube quite a lot of interference there for you. And but I don't know San Francisco that well. I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time since I've been there. Market and Powell. I don't know. That could be it. But the picture is good, and you can definitely see the bricks, the red bricks on the floor, and the rotating platform. There was one cable car arriving or just departing. There was one of the attendants in yellow, and there's another cable car coming down. a building with extensive glass windows across the street, followed up with another one with some red canvas coverings on it and some trees. So that's my description. Mr. Bob, N6BGQ.
Okay, the picture came through real well except for the interference about halfway down the picture when the repeater ID'd. Okay, let's see if memory serves me right. First thing we'll look at is ready to accept the car that's off in the distance on the left. It rotates back and the next one to come in. The cable car on the right is headed away. And it's post-rebuild, so this is a picture that's probably, I'd say maybe 4 or 5 years old or so. I don't think they're running the cable cars because of COVID, so it's pre-COVID, but it's post-rebuild. The big rope cable and the cement stanchions were not in there a few years ago. So anyway, this looks like Hyde Street cable car line. So that's my comments. N6PGQ.
Good details that I should have noticed. So back to you, Mr. Joy, I6DGKL7.
Yeah, I think this was taken last March, right before the shutdown. I went down to a convention. What's that area called? Not Metro or Metrox. There's a shopping center, movie theater, convention place from Moscone Center. And I've been doing it every year. Go full bore, get a hotel room, walk away. Get down there is to drive down to the station, somewhere near Concord, and take BART in, and not have to pay parking in downtown San Francisco. And the BART station comes up right on Market, and a block away is the hotel, and a block from that is the venue for the little convention called B-Side San Francisco. That's every year, February or March, I forget which. And obviously I had some time and did some wandering around Market Street and saw this and took some pictures. And it's just gorgeous. It's a great way to do it, and a great town to wander in. And this is the Market, and it looks like there's a Powell Hyde Street cable line and a Powell Mason Street cable line that ends at this same place where they do the turnaround. And it was just a good trip, and this is one of many pictures I took while I was there. And all the interference, the lines, I have an open mic. I just realized I have an open mic while I'm sending these. So what I need to do is every time I send a picture I've got I'm wearing headphones, and if I roll the boom mic up, it mutes the headset. I need to do that before I send a picture. Duh. Back to that AI6DG.
Yeah, good explanation. So I hit power there. That's what was my guess. Any questions on his commentary? Yeah. What you said about the mic would explain what I see at Carol's at YouTube. But my picture is very clear. I think I have one. I think Bob mentioned one that goes horizontally just above the head of the gentleman in yellow, and that's the only one I have. So it may not have been your microphone. So very well. Any other comments before? Well, I think we had a good net tonight, and it's coming up to 10 o'clock. We'll be open for final comments. Otherwise, we will close the net for tonight.
Yeah, Joel, I think the place is called the Metreon or something to that effect. And yeah, this is the cable car that's downtown. The other one's off a little bit more towards the east.
Yeah, I'm not a huge expert on San Francisco tourism, but I brought up a map, and that's exactly what I see. There's another run parallel, perpendicular to these that goes, terminates at probably another turntable down by Embarcadero. And yes, it's Metreon. That's exactly what the name I was trying to come up with. And it's an amazing venue for this particular event. They do talks, and there's usually you're in a small little theater with too many people and you can't see the screen, and they take over the theaters in the movie theater complex in there. And there's nothing like going to a talk in an IMAX theater where you're wearing out your neck as you're trying to look at the different portions of the slideshow that he's presenting during the talk. Back to net, AI6DG.
Very well. I'm taking a little bit extra time every time to see if anybody else comes in. Well, thank you. I think we learned a lot about quite a few things today. And I want to thank all of you who participated in that. Special thanks to Carol for doing a triple job there and maintaining the YouTube going. And we will be closing the net at this point at 22:04. And we will be back here next Wednesday at approximately 9 p.m. and hope to have such a good participation. For now, this is Neil, Kilo Lima 7 Hotel, Quebec Romeo, closing the net, returning the repeater to normal operation.